this is Dizzy Quilts and Sews. I have a pattern review for you today. The new Itch to Stitch Carmo top was released earlier this week or a few days ago, and spoiler alert, I love it. So I subscribe to the Itch to Stitch newsletter, so I get an email in my inbox whenever she releases new patterns. And when I saw this one, I knew I was going to get it. On top of that, I looked at a number of her pattern testers, so their version. I mean, the top looks amazing on everybody in all kinds of different fabrics. And then the cherry on the sundae, cherry on the cake, for me was watching Megan G. Make's video and her review of the pattern from when she tested it. And that just did it for me. I had to get the top from that moment on. And I'm going to link to Megan's video or channel below. She's amazing. She's a fellow Canadian. So if you don't yet follow her, definitely go have a look. She's amazing. Now, Megan's top looked so good. She made it in a French terry in a very rich red or very dark pink color. I basically shamelessly copied her version, and I told her I was going to do that. Now, if you don't know Itch to Stitch and her patterns, I find that her patterns are basically wardrobe basics with a twist. There's always an interesting feature and interesting details. Her drafting is impeccable, yeah, they just work. Her patterns are so well drafted. They just work. The features of this top are basically a wide V-neck. There's also a V in the back. There are some long cuffs at the bottom of the sleeves, and this amazing scarf, as she calls it in the pattern, that wraps over your shoulder and onto the opposite side. It finishes with a hemband at the bottom. So aside from the scarf, which you have to hem, there's no hemming on this top, which is great. The pattern is available in sizes 00 to 40, which accommodates a bust of 60 inches and hips of 62 inches. Most of her woven patterns have bust cups. This one does not. I made a size 18. I'm a size 18 in most Itch to Stitch patterns that I've sewn, and I fall like squarely in the size 18 for bust, waist, and hips. I find that Itch to Stitch designs for less curvy figures, if you will. So I'm pretty straight up and down. There's minimal difference between my waist and my hip measurement. And yeah, I mean, her patterns just fit my body shape really, really well. And with minimal adjustments, sometimes I have to adjust the length, but most of the times they just fit me right out of the packet. In terms of fabrics, you can use light to medium weight knit fabrics with at least 20 to 30% stretch. It should have good recovery, so you'll need a little bit of Lycra or elastane in your fabric. The fabrics she suggested are jerseys, French terries, sweater knits. I made mine out of a fabulous bamboo French terry from Prairie Knit Love. And I link to my Friday Sews video where I talk about this fabric in more detail. But it's a dream. It's soft, it's sewed up wonderfully. And I just love that rich red. I think the color is chili. I just love, love, love this fabric. Now, it is a bit of a fabric hog because of the scarf. So I had 2.5 meters of my fabric, and I have small scraps left. I mean, probably enough to do like a hair band or hair scrunchie or maybe small underwear, but definitely nothing, not enough left to make like a whole garment out of it. You will need, if you make the largest sizes, you'll need about 3 yards of fabric to make it. Itch to Stitch instructions are fabulous. They're impeccable. They are so clear, so detailed, and she uses illustrations rather than pictures, which in my opinion, my mind, or for me anyways, makes it a lot easier to understand. Now, the steps to attach the scarf to the top had me scratching my head a little bit, I have to say. I pinned it on and then I looked it upside down and backwards and forwards, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how this was going to work. But I trusted her instructions and just went for it, and it worked. It worked like a charm. Now, I pieced or constructed the top mostly on my regular sewing machine. When I make a garment for the first time and there are steps that I'm not too sure about, I'd rather just seam those or piece those on my regular sewing machine and then finish the seams on my serger. I mean, serged seams are a bit of a pain to rip out, so I don't want to take any chances. So most of the construction was done on my sewing machine, and then the seams were finished on the serger. It was a really interesting top to put together. It was not difficult if you followed the instructions to the letter, but it just had that little extra that made it, challenging is the wrong word, I think. It wasn't challenging. You just needed to focus on what you were doing. Would I make this again? Strong, maybe. Probably. I saw one of the testers actually had a different fabric for the scarf, the cuffs, and the hemband, and I thought that looked really, really fun. So I might try to do that. It would be a great way actually to use bigger scraps. So if you have like a yard of fabric, of two different fabrics that go well together, you can definitely use those for piecing this top. Karina from Lifting Pins and Needles also put out a video when the pattern came out, and she turned hers into a sleeveless top, which looked so good, so good. So I'm probably going to be tempted to make one for myself for the summer. I mean, it is such a statement piece. I don't know that I would need multiples of this for the winter or for each season, but I'm thinking one for winter, one for summer might be the way to go. So a definite maybe, or probably. So as you can probably guess, and as I said at the very beginning of this video, this is a definite winner for me. If you like basic, comfortable garments, but with a little something that makes them beyond basics, you need to run and get this pattern. It is so much fun. So what do you think? Are you gonna go get this pattern? Have you done any itch to stitch patterns in the past? And what did you think of them? I would love to hear. Thank you for stopping by today. Thank you for watching the video. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I would love it if you would subscribe. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.